What happens when the man who signs the checks gets ignored at the counter for 15 minutes? That question brewed in Trenton Jameson's head as he stood in line at store 13 of his late father's retail chain, dressed in a navy hoodie jeans and a faded baseball cap. He looked like any tired customer. No one recognized him, and that was the point. 18 stores. His dad had built them from nothing. Trenton had inherited everything 5 years ago. He'd worked hard to keep it alive, but recently things had gone off. Complaints had spiked. Customer service ratings dropped. A few store managers were defensive, others blamed lazy workers or entitled shoppers. But Trenton didn't want more filtered reports. He wanted truth, so he went undercover. He picked store 13 because it hadn't had an in-person visit in over 2 years. He'd never met the staff, and the location was in a busy suburb where turnover was high. Perfect cover. The store was short 4 workers, according to the district manager, because 2 quit last week and no one wanted the weekend shifts. Trenton decided to come in as a mystery shopper and spend the whole day observing. By 2 in the afternoon, he had seen enough to know something was wrong. The cashiers were overwhelmed. One of the floor associates, a tall guy with messy brown hair named Aaron, was hustling nonstop. No complaints, just doing what needed to be done. But the customer service desk was a different story. That's where Trenton stood now. Waiting, watching. 2 employees worked the desk. A younger girl named Gina, barely out of high school, and a man in his 30s named Wyatt. Wyatt wore a headset and leaned back in his chair like he was bored out of his mind. A woman stood at the front of the line, holding a small framed photo in one hand and a box in the other. Her voice cracked. I just want to return this. It was for my brother. He passed 2 days ago. I never got to give it to him. Silence. Wyatt stared at her blankly. You need the receipt, he muttered. I don't have it, the woman said. I don't want the money. Can someone take it back? Wyatt turned to Gina. Hey, we got another sad story, he said loud enough for the whole line to hear. Dead brother this time. Gina looked uncomfortable. Don't, Wyatt. Come on, Wyatt continued, still not even looking at the woman. We're not a funeral home. The woman's hands trembled. Forget it. She turned and walked out. No refund, no empathy. Trenton stepped out of line and followed her outside. Ma'am, he said gently, I'm sorry about what just happened. She looked at him, eyes glassy. Are you a manager? No, he said. Just someone who thinks you deserved better. She gave him a tired nod and walked away. Trenton stood there for a moment, jaw tight. Then he went back inside. He didn't say anything. Not yet. Instead, he stayed in the store, moving between departments, watching interactions. Wyatt continued acting like a clown, ignoring customers, laughing with other staff. Gina, on the other hand, kept helping people even when Wyatt disappeared on breaks that lasted over 30 minutes. Around 5, a teenage boy came in with his mom. He had trouble speaking and tried to ask about a missing item from their pickup order. Gina leaned in, listened carefully, and walked them through it. She even walked to the back to check inventory. Trenton noted it all. He waited until Wyatt returned and immediately started talking over Gina and joking about special requests from special customers. That was it. Trenton walked outside, took off his cap, and called his assistant. Get the district manager here. Now. And bring HR. He hung up and took a deep breath. He hadn't planned to reveal himself today. But after what he saw, he couldn't wait any longer. The back office was small, windowless, and smelled faintly of old carpet cleaner. Trenton sat in the far corner, arms crossed, watching the district manager pace. A plain white folder sat on the desk between them, filled with printed schedules and HR reports. I came as fast as I could, the district manager Lyle said, wiping sweat from his temple. Didn't expect to hear from you directly. I didn't expect to see what I saw today, Trenton replied. Where's HR? 10 minutes out, they were at a different site. Trenton gave a small nod and stood. I want you to bring Wyatt to the break room, alone, no warning, no delay. Lyle hesitated. You want to talk to him first? No, Trenton said. I want you to witness it happen. Wyatt entered the break room 5 minutes later, holding a cup of coffee and wearing a grin like he'd just won something. That expression faltered when he saw Trenton standing there, no disguise, arms folded, flanked by a man in a pressed shirt and tie. Have a seat, Trenton said without raising his voice. Wyatt looked between them. What's this about? Sit down. Wyatt dropped into the plastic chair, tapping his foot against the tile. Okay, so, Trenton leaned forward. You mocked a grieving woman in front of a full line of people. You made a joke about her dead brother while she was trying to return a gift. Wyatt blinked. That's not I mean, she didn't have a receipt, I was just doing policy. You were laughing. You said it was another sad story, you called it a funeral home. Wyatt's jaw tightened. Look, people lie all the time. I'm not gonna, you humiliated her, Trenton cut in. And when a teenager with a disability came in later, you dismissed it as a special request. You did nothing. You left that girl Gina doing your job while you vanished for nearly 40 minutes. You left a radio on the counter and disappeared. Wyatt's face turned red. Okay, seriously, who are you? I'm the owner. Wyatt's mouth opened, then closed again. He looked at Lyle, then back at Trenton. You're fired, Trenton said plainly. Effective immediately. You'll be paid for your hours today, nothing more. You can't just, I just did, Trenton said. Clear out, HR will walk you through the paperwork when they arrive. Wyatt stood, knocking his chair back. You're making a mistake. I already did, Trenton said. Hiring you, Wyatt stormed out. Lyle turned, letting out a slow breath. You want me to address the rest of the staff? Not yet, Trenton said. I want to talk to Gina. He found her at the front, restocking a shelf of batteries with quick, precise movements. She didn't see him approach. Excuse me, he said softly. She turned, startled. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize. Her voice trailed off when she recognized him from earlier. I'm not a customer, he said. My name's Trenton Jameson. I own this company. Her eyes widened. Wait, seriously, he nodded. I needed to see the store for myself. Gina stepped back from the shelf. Did I do something wrong? No, he said. You showed more professionalism today than I've seen in a while, and I know you've been doing the job of two people. She looked down briefly. It's just been a lot. We're short all the time. Wyatt barely worked. He'd leave for half his shift. I didn't know if I should say anything. You shouldn't have to, Trenton said. The system should have caught it. I should have caught it. I didn't want to cause trouble. You didn't. You've helped hold this place together. I saw you with the woman earlier. You tried to de-escalate. You didn't laugh. I wanted to help her, Gina said. But he always made it worse. He's gone, Trenton said. Effective today. And I'm not done fixing this. She stared at him for a moment, then nodded slowly. Okay, can you join me in the break room for a few minutes? I'd like your input. They walked back together. Lyle was on a call when they entered, so Trenton motioned for her to sit. I want to ask you some things, and I need you to be honest, no sugarcoating. All right. How many people have quit in the last month? 4, she said. Marcy, Daniel, Kara, and Joel, all part-timers. Why? Overtime without notice, no coverage for closing shifts. And Wyatt made it worse. He'd hand off tasks and then disappear. People stopped trusting the schedule. Trenton nodded slowly. How long have you been here? 7 months. And how many times have you been trained formally? Gina hesitated. Once, kind of. It was just a senior associate running through things on my first day. After that, I just learned by doing. He folded his hands. What would help this store the most right now? Better coverage, she said, and accountability. People need to feel like if someone's not pulling their weight, someone's paying attention. We've had good people walk because no one stepped in. Understood. As HR arrived, Lyle ended his call and stepped out to meet them. Trenton turned back to Gina. There's going to be a cleanup. Not just here, but across the board. I'm putting in new district oversight. We'll start retraining next week. I want you to be part of that process. Gina blinked. Me, you've earned it. You know the day-to-day better than anyone else right now. I'm not offering a promotion today. I'm asking for your help, if you want it, she nodded slowly. Yeah, I'll help. Good. Trenton stood. You can head home early today. You've done enough. There's still a restock pending. Lyle will cover it, she smiled faintly. Okay. As she left the room, Lyle stepped back in with HR. Trenton turned to them. We're not just replacing one guy, he said. We're overhauling the whole staffing system. I need hiring managers focused on more than just availability and resumes. We need people who actually care. And we need better support for the ones who already do. He paused. And we're going to start listening again. Directly, not through filters, Lyle nodded. Understood. Trenton glanced at the clock. Schedule a staff meeting for tomorrow morning. I'll be here. We're resetting this place from the ground up. He walked out through the stockroom, past crates of unpacked merchandise and an unplugged mini-fridge wedged behind the emergency exit, a fire code violation. He noted silently. He stepped into the cold dusk air, his breath just visible. The damage had been deeper than he expected, but now, at least, he knew where to start. The staff meeting was set for 7 sharp. The breakroom lights flickered slightly overhead, casting a pale glow on the mismatched chairs hastily pulled into a circle. Trenton arrived first, black coffee in hand, choosing a seat near the edge. He didn't want to stand in front of them like a distant figure making declarations. That's what had gone wrong in the first place. By 7:10, 5 employees had trickled in, faces tired, wary, some curious. A few gave him a second look, murmuring to each other, not quite sure what to expect. Gina entered last, still in her jacket. She gave Trenton a silent nod and sat beside a young man who looked barely out of high school. Trenton waited a moment, then leaned forward. "I won't keep you long. I just want to explain what's happening and why." The room went still. A few crossed arms. No one interrupted. "I came here yesterday pretending to be a customer because I stopped trusting what I was hearing from management. And what I saw, what you've been dealing with, is unacceptable." A woman near the back with short curls and red-rimmed eyes raised her hand halfway. Trenton gestured for her to speak. "Are we in trouble?" she asked. "It's just, we've had other visits. They say they'll fix things, but it always ends up worse." "You're not in trouble," Trenton said, "and I'm not here to make speeches and vanish. I'm changing how we do things, and that starts with listening." The teenager beside Gina finally spoke up, voice tentative. "We've been short for weeks. We're covering shifts we didn't agree to. We don't even know who to talk to anymore. Everyone just says, 'Do your best.'" "That's not leadership," Trenton replied. "That's neglect. You deserve more structure than that." He looked around. "I fired Wyatt yesterday. His behavior was inexcusable. But the truth is, he was a symptom, not the cause." Several heads nodded. No one seemed surprised. Trenton continued, "Starting now, we're rebuilding the chain of accountability. I've brought in a temporary regional supervisor who will be on site every other day for the next 2 weeks. You'll have a voice and issues won't get buried." The woman with the curls raised her hand again. "What about coverage? We're constantly being asked to skip breaks or stay late. There's no one else. I've approved emergency funding to bring in temporary staff. We'll start interviewing this afternoon. Until we're fully staffed, hours will be capped to prevent burnout. No one will be scheduled beyond their availability." A man near the door, middle-aged with a knee brace and a resigned expression, cleared his throat. "That's good. But we've had people like Wyatt before. They get away with everything. We report it, nothing changes." "That's over," Trenton said. "From now on, every employee will have a direct line to HR that bypasses store management. Any report of misconduct will be reviewed by a third party. No more brushing things under the rug." He paused. "And I'll be reviewing store-level data personally, employee turnover, customer complaints, unscheduled absences. If something doesn't add up, we'll investigate." The teenager leaned forward. "What about training? Half of us never got proper onboarding. I still don't know how to process certain returns." "You'll get it," Trenton said. "We're launching a new training model, short, in-person sessions twice a week, built into your paid hours. We'll start with essential operations and move into customer engagement techniques after that. No more learning by trial." Gina glanced sideways at the teenager. "You should lead the inventory session. You're better at it than I am." He blinked. "Seriously? You know more of the system codes than anyone." Trenton didn't interrupt. He watched the exchange, then said, "That's exactly the kind of initiative I want to see. If someone's got knowledge, they should be empowered to share it." The man with the knee brace raised a hand. "What happens if upper management ignores this again?" Trenton looked him square in the eye. "Then I've failed. But I've already seen what happens when I stay out of reach. That's not happening anymore." He stood. "I'll be back later this week to check in. In the meantime, HR will be here all day. They'll meet with any of you one-on-one if you have concerns or want to provide input. You don't need permission to talk to them." He turned to Gina. "Would you stay back for a few minutes?" She nodded. The rest of the team filtered out slowly. a few exchanging uncertain glances, others whispering quietly. The atmosphere wasn't suddenly cheerful, but there was a shift, an edge of cautious hope replacing fatigue. Once the room cleared, Gina leaned forward, expression guarded. "I didn't expect to be part of any of this," she said. "I'm still getting used to it." "You didn't ask to be," Trenton replied, "but you stepped up. I don't take that lightly." She nodded, fiddling with the zipper on her sleeve. "Are you really planning to stay involved?" "Not just this week." "Yes," he said. "I've arranged to spend 2 days a month rotating through stores. No advance notice, no assistants, just me." Gina raised an eyebrow. "Even when it's not falling apart, especially then," Trenton said. "Because if I wait until it falls apart, I've already failed." She stared at him for a beat, then said quietly, "You might be the first one who actually means that. I intend to prove it." He stood, pushing in his chair. "Take the rest of the morning to regroup. HR will handle the floor until coverage arrives. You've earned a break." Gina hesitated. "There's still a restock scheduled. I'll be on the floor, I'll start it." She looked at him as if trying to gauge whether he was serious. "You're going to stock shelves." "Why not?" She cracked a small, dry smile. "All right, let's see how you do." Together they walked out of the break room. The store felt different, not fixed, but in motion. The missing urgency, the sense of being watched without understanding why, had shifted into something more grounded. Trenton stepped behind the counter, reached for the first box and opened it. No cameras. No press, just work that needed doing. By the end of the following week, Store 13 had begun to stabilize, though it was far from smooth. Trenton returned on a rainy Thursday morning, arriving alone and unannounced just after opening. The door chimed faintly as he stepped inside, the air carrying the scent of fresh cardboard and industrial cleaner. A few customers browsed quietly. The store had a subdued hum, nothing chaotic, but not yet confident either. He walked past the front counter. No one looked up right away, which didn't bother him. That was the least of his concerns. He found Gina in the seasonal aisle, updating signage next to a half-stocked display of humidifiers. Her eyes looked tired, but her shoulders were squared. No resignation. She straightened when she saw him. "We've had 2 call-outs today," she said. "Both new hires. One said he had the flu, the other didn't give a reason." Trenton nodded. "Do you have enough to cover the day?" "Barely. I stayed late last night to finish the freight, and Malik offered to come in early. But we're stretched thin." He glanced at her clipboard. "You're still acting as floor lead, unofficially. No one's been assigned yet." He nodded again. "Let's change that." She hesitated. "You're serious?" "I've already submitted the paperwork." "You'll be interim floor supervisor starting Monday. Title comes with a raise and control over scheduling within reason. You'll report directly to the new regional lead." She lowered the clipboard slightly. "I thought there'd be a process." "There is. You've already proven yourself. The rest is formality." Before she could respond, a raised voice echoed from the next aisle. A woman in a blue coat stood near a display of storage bins, clutching a receipt. "I was told I could return it here," she said. I called ahead. Across from her stood a young man with a name tag that read Marcus. He looked wide-eyed, holding a scanner like it might explode. "I'm sorry, our policy says." Trenton turned to Gina. "You know her," she called yesterday, said she was bringing in a defective lid. "I logged it." Gina walked briskly toward the commotion, Trenton behind her. As they approached, Marcus stepped back. "I didn't mean to upset you," he said quickly. "I'm still learning." "I'm not upset with you," the woman replied. "I'm upset because I drove 20 minutes and someone can't follow through." Gina stepped between them. "Ma'am, I remember your call. I logged it under the returns override. Marcus didn't see the note, he's new." The woman's expression softened. "I didn't mean to yell." "It's okay," Gina said, already scanning the barcode. "We'll process it now." Trenton watched in silence as she handled the return, nodded once to Marcus, and sent him back to the front with a quiet, "You're doing fine." The moment resolved in under a minute. He waited until the customer left before speaking. "How long's Marcus been here?" 5 days. "He's anxious, but he listens." Trenton looked around. "Anyone mentoring him?" "Not officially. I've been walking him through most of it." "That shouldn't fall entirely on you." "I'll make sure he's assigned a peer trainer. We're drafting a checklist for every new employee: first week, second week, month 1. You'll get a copy." She gave a small nod. That would help. They moved back toward the front. The store's rhythm was uneven, but it was moving. By mid-afternoon, Trenton had spoken directly with 7 employees, taking notes in a slim black notebook. He asked specific questions: what slowed them down, where processes broke, what they avoided doing because it always caused problems. He didn't challenge or debate. He listened. In the back corner of the warehouse section, he found Malik unloading a pallet of bulk detergent. The man was tall, with a slight limp and a quiet focus. He didn't see Trenton right away. "You came in early today," Trenton said. Malik straightened. "Yeah," Gina asked. "We were short. You always this flexible?" When people actually ask instead of just telling me the night before. "Yeah," Trenton nodded. "You've been here a while, 6 months. Worked freight most of it. I don't mind the work. I mind being treated like I can't say no. You'll be asked, not ordered. That's changing." Malik looked at him for a moment. "You're the owner, right?" "I am. You really plan to stick to all this?" "Yes," Trenton said. "And I'll be back often to make sure it doesn't drift." Malik gave a slow nod, then turned back to the pallet. Trenton didn't press further. In the office, he met briefly with the new temporary regional lead, a woman named Carla with a no-nonsense tone and a reputation for fixing underperforming sites. She'd already flagged inconsistencies in timecard approvals and had started reviewing manager notes from the past 3 months. "There's something else," Carla said, flipping open a file. "One of Wyatt's old shifts was never reassigned in the system. It auto-filled to unassigned for 2 weeks, which means the store was under-scheduled by default." Trenton scanned the sheet. "No wonder the wreckage went unnoticed." Carla closed the file. "We'll clean it, but I'm keeping this store on review for the next 6 weeks. Any gaps I want to know by the hour." "Agreed." At 5, just before leaving, Trenton met Gina by the break room. She was finishing inventory notes on a tablet, the fluorescent lights humming overhead. "I've seen places break," she said quietly, not looking up. "They don't come back from it. This one might." "It will," Trenton said, "but not because of anything I say. Because of what you all do." She finally looked up. "I don't want to be a manager who burns out. I've seen what that looks like." "You won't be," he said. "Not on my watch." He reached into his coat pocket and handed her a small envelope. "What's this?" "An advance bonus. It's discretionary, tied to immediate impact. You earned it." She opened it slowly, then blinked. "This is more than a thank you, it's recognition, and it's overdue." She closed the envelope carefully. "What happens next? We keep building. And I keep showing up." Then he turned, stepped through the employee entrance and into the cold evening. No cameras, no applause, just accountability, and work worth doing.